Shalom. I like to say all praise due unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honor to the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to the elect. My name is Kanawat. Doing this lesson, it's going to be in regards about the going into the Moors or the Blackamoors. All right, Amor. It just means love. Also, when you go into the Greek, it says dark, or a black, right? But Moor is not a nationality. Our nationality is that we are Hebrew Israelites, right? But I'm gonna bring out some points. This is off of the Tumblr. They have some good information. But it's gonna be this. I'm just gonna summarize some of this information because if you have a good book to purchase is The Golden Age of the Moor by Ivan Sertima, and African Presence in Early Europe. Very good books. Also, Nature Knows No Color Line by J.A. Rogers. And they go into our history during the Middle Ages. That we were kings. And that we were in power during the Middle Ages. And so I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna read this and get some scriptures and see where the Spirit's gonna lead. The Moors by Dr. Leroy Vaughan, MD, MBA, a dynamic, honest, and powerful view of the black history, which we're not black. We're Hebrew Israelites. You calling yourself black, it means you're void of light. You have, you calling yourself black, you don't have power, right? You calling yourself black is not a nationality. During the European Dark Ages, between the 7th and 14th century AD, the Moorish Empire in Spain became one of the world's finest civilization, right? Because we were in power, right? Let's get it, right? It goes into the Dark Ages. That's why Esau, he calls it the Dark Ages, because we were in power, right? And the Neanderthal or the Caucasian man was he was in the cliffs of the rocks for the most part, and being bound, all throughout Europe and certain North Africa. Esau was in servitude. This is Revelation 20:1. I saw an angel come down from heaven having the key to the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. Right, so the angel Yahweh Shai, right, and he's the one that has the keys, right, and basically Esau fell, right, the Greco-Roman Empire fell, and then Jake rose up to power, and they show you that basically with that movie Gladiator 2 with Denzel Washington, which is a pretty good movie because it shows you at the end basically Jake he rose up to power, right, at the end. But I'm not I suggest you watch it if you haven't watched it. And he laid hold on the dragon, the old serpent. Or the dragon is the Greco-Roman Empire. The old serpent was Cain. The old serpent was from the Garden of Eden. The serpent, aka Cain, which he came through with the line of the serpent, basically, right? You Cain, because the Lord said that He's gonna put enmity between thy seed and her seed, right? And Cain came out first, and then Abel came, and then Cain slew his brother Abel, right? So that's which is the devil and Satan, the adversary, and bound him 1,000 years, right? So you were in captivity for 1,000 years, man, under the Israelites, the Anglo-Saxon, the Anglo sons of Isaac. Jake was in power throughout Russia, right? Um, all throughout Europe, right? And they were trading. They were navigators. They were, I'm gonna read some of these things off this Tumblr. It cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him that he should deceive the nation no more till 1,000 years be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loose a little season. So this is a little season that he's in, right? Because basically 49-2, a lot of Jakes was expelled from Spain. The Moors, they were expelled from Spain for the most part, and they came. A lot of them came to the New World and set up shop in the New World, right? So General Tariq and his Black Moorish army from Morocco conquered Spain after a week-long battle with King Redrick in 711. So you had King Redrick, where he was like they're under that whole Catholicism, and then the Moors came, because the Moors, they were under that whole Islamic. They're under that whole Islamic way of life, right? From basically when Muhammad came, a lot of Jake started worshiping that so-called moon god, right? Known as Allah, the goddess, right? And Jake started going back, because basically when Ishmael, because basically the Ishmaelites came, right, and they conquered. That's why the whole Crusades, right? Basically, if you read about Muhammad, it's a very good book. Very good book known as From Babylon to Timbuktu, right? Because those Ishmaelites, they were worshiping over 400 and some odd. They're worshiping. I probably have to do a lesson about the birth of Islam. I will do a lesson, but basically, they were nothing but idol worshippers, right? So they basically came. A lot of Jake was destroyed, so a lot of our people submitted, and that's why the word Islam means to submit. So some of our people, they submitted to that whole way of life, that whole Islam. Conquered Spain after the week-long battle with King Redrick in 711 AD. The word tariff, right? Because the word tariff, or the word tariff, or the word tariq or tariff, right? Because basically, they conquered Spain, right? Basically like General Tariq, he conquered Spain, and basically over 700 years that they were in power, right, for a long time, right? Because because that's why these Shriners. Let's get Blackamoor. These Shriners. This is what they you have these Edomites, right? That's basically following Jake. Cause that whole Shriners, that whole the whole Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, all that stuff goes back to Jake, right? But let's keep going. They found in Europe. Sorry, the word tariff and the Rock of Gibraltar were named after him. They found that Europe, that with the assistance of the Catholic Church, right? So that whole Islam was created by the Catholic Church, right? And they used some Jake to drive out, like the Ishmaelites from the Holy Land of Jerusalem, and to get us out, and to get them out of our land. And that's why they were known as there was that whole battle known as the Crusades during the Middle Ages, right? Because you had those Ishmaelites, and then some certain of those Moors were siding with those Ishmaelites, and then they were fighting against the Knights Templar and all these different orders that Jake set up, because they were fighting for the Holy Land. All right. Um, they found that Europe, with the assistance of the Catholic Church, had returned almost to complete bar, uh, barbarism. The population was 90,000. The population was 900%. Sorry, 900%. Sorry, like the population was 90% illiterate, and had lost of all the civilized principles that were passed on by the ancient Greek and Romans, right? So so a lot of people in Europe, they were illiterate, right? And especially you Edomites, right? Because the Moors came, they set up the whole these universities, these schools of higher learning, right? The Moors reintroduced mathematics, medicine, agriculture, and physical science, right? So they're very wise, right? Math equation, medicine, right? Knowing about the herbs, the agriculture, right? They were farmers, right? And it was amazing. It says Arabic figures, including the zero and the decimal point, replaced the clumsy Roman numbers. As Dr. Van Sternema says, you can do high mathematics with Roman numerals. The Moors introduced agriculture to Europe, including cotton, rice, sugarcane, dates, ginger, and lemon, and strawberries, man. So, when Jake was in power, they were farming, they were planting seed, right? That's why we a lot of these like those seeds from like dates, Germany, lemon. A lot of them they came to the New World. They planted a lot of proper seeds. You know, you know. Let's get that. Jacob is a former of all things in Jeremiah. Salakia. Jeremiah 10. Is it 10? Yep, Jeremiah 10 and 16. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name. Right? So Jake was, they were a farmer, they were into the whole mathematics, They set up these universities, higher learning, like Timbuktu. Right? It says the Moors introduced agriculture to Europe, including cotton, rice, sugarcane, dates, ginger, lemon, strawberries. They also taught them how to store grain up to 100 years and to build underground grain silos. Right, so they would they would plant these, like they would like preserve these seeds, right, for over hundreds of years. Right, over 100 years, man. They had like underground silos underneath, and they were very much educated into the whole agriculture, the farming. Esau not like that. Esau wanted to destroy, give people GMOs, right? Um, let's play this, and I'm gonna continue.
You have to understand the Moors, because from 710 AD there comes an event that changes history. Because had Africans not traveled from the northern part of Africa into Spain and Portugal, bringing with them first and foremost, they brought soap. Second of all, they brought what we today call alcohol, which, well, they called it alcohol. We today call it alcohol. Because Europe was dying at large numbers through the Black Plague or the bubonic plague. I didn't tell you why they call it the Black Plague. And what the Moors did, what Africans did over a period of a couple of centuries was brought the remedy, the prescription that would heal them and then set them on a path to destroy the world that came in and save them.
That's right. So the Moors came, they civilized these so-called Caucasian, these Edomites, all right, because they were dying, right, and then Jake started mingling with them, right. So a lot of Jake, they say that 2/3 of Europe died, of the plague, right, which they call it the Black Plague, right, which they're basically mocking us, right. Let's get Job 30. Job 30:1. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. Right? They're just like basically like what they do today. They kissing up with their dog. They have their dogs on their bed. They sleep with them. They do all kinds of um, wickedness. You know, you know. Yea, whereto might the strength of their hand profit me, in whom only was perished? For want and famine they were solitary, fleeing to the wilderness in former time, desolate and waste. Right. So basically, Esau was known as the wild man. Right. The fruit like Fred Flintstone. you know, like that were you Edomites, the so-called Neanderthal. Because Esau went into because like we drove them out of our cities, man. They had to go out into the wilderness, all right, and they couldn't even speak a proper language, man, for the most part, right. Then you had some of those, you had the Khazars who basically 740 AD. That's when the whole Khazar Empire came, and um, we civilized them. We started mingling with the Khazars, and that's why basically like the 1300s, a lot of Jake were destroyed because of the plague, right? Because we started mingling with these Edomites who cut out the mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief. And I have a very good book. I'm not gonna. You could probably buy it. This book. It's called The Horizon Book of the Middle Ages. Very good book. Because it basically shows you, um, Esau being driven out. Esau was driven out, man. We drove them out of our cities, our towns. All right, and we sent them up to the rocks. Among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they were gathered together. They are children of fools, children of base men, right? So Esau's a base man. Even though he had the world, he's still a base man, man. All right? They were violent in the earth. And now am I their song, and yea, I am their byword. They abhor me, they flee far from me, and spare not to spit in my face. Right, and that's what they do, man. Right? They mock us, you know. What? when we were in power, man, Jake was very we were on point, right? But even though we were in power during the Dark Ages, right? We were inbreeding, we were infighting against one another, right? And that's how we fell, right? That whole Catholicism, that whole Catholic Church was funded by the Jake, by the Israelites. The whole Catholic Church was funded by our people, right? During the Middle Ages, right? The whole Roman Catholic Church was funded by Jake. The Moors introduced the I already read that. Um, they also taught them how to store grain up to 100 years and build underground grain silos. They established a world famous. They established a world famous silk industry in Spain, right? So all the silk, industry, man. So they were able to sell, right, throughout Asia, throughout basically, elder, elder, forgot the, but the elder over there in Chicago, he always goes into that your Asia because Europe was all one continent, it wasn't separated. Europe, what they call Europe, is really Asia. They call your Asia. It was all one continent. They constructed an agricultural, or an aqueduct. They conveyed water from the mountains to the city through lead pipes from the mountain to the city, right? So Jake was very established, man, right? They were very educated, man, and you know that's why when you read up, when you go to Europe and whatever, when you go throughout Spain and stuff, those a lot of these cities are still standing to this day. They taught them how to mine for minerals on the large scale, including copper, gold, silver, tin, lead, and aluminum. Spain, Spain, uh, Spain soon became the world's center for a higher quality of sword, blades, and shields. Right, so they had everything, man. You know, Spain was Spain was eventually manufactured up to 12,000 blades and shields per year. Wow. Right, so Jake was building all those weapons, man. Spanish craft and woolen men became world famous. The Moorish craftsmen also produced world class glass, pottery, um, vases, um, mosaics, and jewelry, man. Jake was decked out, man. When you read about, when you look at these Jake, right? They have when you watch about when you look at these Jake, man, they're all decked out, man. You know, that's Jake, man. I probably have to do a part two, go into Jake during the Dark Ages, right? But the Moors introduced to Europe paved the more introduced to Europe paved lighted streets with raised sidewalks for pedestrian, um, flanked by intro in on sorry by uninterrupted rows of building paved and light the streets and lighted the streets did not appear in London and Paris for a century. So they were very advanced, right? They were very advanced, man. Basically, everything, all the technology that we have now, said that there's nothing new under the sun, right? that which is to be is that which have been is that which is to be. 'Cause, all this technology and stuff, it goes back to the Jake, right? Right, and like they don't want to admit it, but Jake civilized all of Eurasia or Europe or Eurasia, man. Jake civilized them, man. You know, they publish. It says Cordova. It says Cordova along. It says Cordova alone had 5,000 of each. They were also introduced to Spain underwear and bathing and bathing with soap, right? Because they don't like to take showers. You know, even to this day, like a lot of the Edomites, you guys might take a shower maybe like once a week. That's how some of these Edomites are, man. So you gotta be careful. Their public baths, their public bath numbered in Europe when bathing in the rest of Europe was frowned upon, a diabolical custom to avoid by all good Christians. Poor hygiene. Poor hygiene. On Poor hygiene contributed to the plague in the rest of Europe. Right, because Jake started mingling with these Edomites, and that's how we end up dying. Right, because it was at that time. It was at the time that we fell during the whole 1300s to the 1400s. It's a Moorish monarch dwelt in sumptuous palaces, while the crowned head of England, France, and Germany lived in barns, lack windows, toilets, chimneys, with only a hole in the roof. Right, so the more they civilize, Europe, man. You know, that was pretty much it. Don't have anything else. But yeah, the Moors, man, the Moors did play a major role in our history, right? So I suggest some good books to get is The Golden Age of the Moor by Ivan Cernima, The African Presence of Early Europe by Ivan Cernima, National Occult Line by J. A. Rogers. You could buy them used, or you could download them as a PDF. So with that, let us say I praise due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem HaKakodash, the one to parts of Great Millstone, peace, blessings, and elect. Shalom.